Distinguished representatives of indigenous peoples, ministers, Ambassador Jørgensen, Under Secretary General Wu, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to address this 15th session of the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues and to welcome all of you here in the General Assembly Hall of the United Nations. I do it with pleasure, also at the background of having, in my time as Danish parliamentarian and minister, very close and warm relations with the people of Greenland in particular. Nearly 2 years ago, in September 2014, the General Assembly held the first World Conference on Indigenous Peoples, where member states reaffirmed their commitment to support, respect, promote, and advance the rights of indigenous peoples, and to uphold the principles of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Building on that event, member states agreed in December last year to the landmark Resolution 70/232. It included a commitment to conduct consultations on possible measures necessary and to enable the participation of indigenous peoples' representatives and institutions in meetings of relevant United Nations bodies. In February, therefore, I appointed 4 advisors to assist me in conducting these consultations, and I circulated on April 27th the first draft compilation of views expressed during the electronic consultations, including the good practices within the United Nations regarding the indigenous people's participation. A further compilation of views will be prepared as we move forward to form a basis of draft text to be finalized and adopted by the Assembly during its 71st session starting in September. I call upon all of you to continue to work together to support this process. In particular, I encourage all of you to participate in the informal consultative meetings on 11th to 18th of May and to provide concise inputs and suggestions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very crucial, important process. Since taking office, I have sought to advance openness, transparency, and inclusion in how the United Nations General Assembly conducts its work. To me, this includes the ability of indigenous peoples to engage in the UN in all matters that affect them. Indigenous peoples have a right to contribute or who can provide enriching input to all that's going on in the United Nations. All too often, indigenous peoples have been targeted when they speak up and historically excluded at all levels, resulting in harm, in great harm, to their communities, heritage, livelihoods, and even their identity. The current consultations provide a historical opportunity for member states and indigenous peoples to improve and strengthen the participation of indigenous peoples in the United Nations. Furthermore, the theme that you will address during this 15th session of the Forum, Indigenous Peoples, Conflict, Peace and Resolution, is of course a very critical one. It comes during a year when member states are reflecting on how best to strengthen the UN's role and the UN's effectiveness in the area of peace and security. As you may know, over the next 2 days, I am organizing also a high-level thematic debate on this very subject. Our discussions, therefore, will contribute to a larger debate and add an important and much-needed perspective from you on the particular challenges for indigenous peoples in the conflict and in peace processes. I am very pleased that the Permanent Forum members took the initiative to tackle such a difficult and important theme, and I look forward to hear the outcome from your deliberations. I wish you a very successful and productive session. Thank you very much for meeting us here in the UN General Assembly Hall.